I want to talk about somebody that I never knew, but who was pretty important in my life. And that was my great-grandfather, Mason Crum, who grew up down in Roseville. And y'all, during the Civil War, if you were tall enough to hold a musket, you were tall enough to be in the Confederate Army, especially as things got toward the end. And this is kind of awkward to say, so don't repeat this to everybody, but just between you and me and a few other people, not every white Southern male wanted to be in the Confederate Army, particularly toward the end. They were sort of like, y'all go ahead and I'll catch up. You know, phone me. Well, obviously, write me. Send me a postcard. I'll get the next train after you. Y'all just go on ahead, and when I can, I'll catch up because my back hurts. And so people would think of reasons not to go. And so the Confederate conscript officers would come by the plantations, and they would impress the young white males into the Confederate Army. And this didn't suit everybody. In my family, there was one surviving male heir, and that was my great-grandfather, Mason Crum. So when the conscript officers came around the plantation, they would hide him under the smokehouse. And so other people were out gaining glory, and great-grandfather was crouching amongst the hams, but that was good because he didn't get impressed into the army, and therefore that's one of the reasons I'm here, because he, So what great-grandfather did was when he grew up, he opened a country store, and then to supplement his income, he doctored on people. I don't think he actually had a medical degree. This was sort of self-taught. Maybe they sent a book every month from a medical school, like amputations in June, and then maybe, taking somebody's head off and putting it on right in another month, something like that. And so, but one day, my grandmother told me this story all the time, and some of y'all who are watching this probably remember my grandmother, Big Lurleen, and not because she was, those of you who don't remember her, she was not Big Lurleen because she was heavy, she was Big Lurleen because my mother was also Lurleen, and this being the South, everybody has the same name. So what my grandfather did, great-grandfather did, was he was called away because some man at a long distance was quite ill. And so he rode on his faithful horse, Molly. He rode for, 2 or 3 hours, and to attend to this very ill patient. And the family story actually leaves out what happens to the patient, probably because didn't work as well as maybe everyone had hoped. So great-grandfather is riding back, and y'all, you know how dark it gets in Orangeburg even now when you have electricity. So back then, in the Carolina Lowcountry, it gets dark. It was just dark as it could be. And he got lost in the pine forest down there, and down there around Roseville. And you know how that would easily be done. You get lost down there now. And so he began to hear the howling of wolves. That's right. I don't know about you, that would scare me to death. And the wolves got closer and closer. And he's lost. He doesn't know where to go. He's just kind of picking his way through the forest. But the wolves know where to go, because wolves can see at night. At least on TV they can. So they must be able to. And so, if they had caught him, he would have ended up in little bite-sized bits, which wouldn't have been good. And so they got closer, the howling, and as they got closer, you could see the yellow eyes of the wolves. Wolves have yellow eyes. And if they got so close, he could smell their breath, and wolves have really bad breath, and he was probably, do y'all want a breath mint or something? Because it was really gross. And right before they tore him to pieces and ate him up, he leaned down to Molly's ear and he said, Home, Molly, home. And she galloped unerringly. Horses will do this. Through the forest, being chased by the howling wolves. And people ask me, usually they're on the edge of their chair, probably like you are now, and they go, did they get home? I mean, what happened? Well, as most of y'all know, they got home safe and sound because there are no wolves in South Carolina.